That's just fantastic. Let's just take a gander with our good old-fashioned heads or tails. Heads Ashikai, 2 tails 4 master. Fair? Best of 1, best of 1. Okay? Okay. Heads Ashikai, tails 4 master. Best of 1. Oh, the fate of the RN Jesus has been summoned. So, and I wanna do it what it is, right? Shit, man. Fuck for master.
Confession to make. I've never played Arknights, but it has been on my must-try games list for forever because everyone I talk to about it raves about the story and can recite the deep lore from memory without issue. Do you have any idea how rare that is? Well, I'll tell you, it's very rare, extremely rare, Star Wars level of rare. So when I got the chance to get an early look at the sister game, Arknights Endfield, I pounced, because that was the perfect excuse to get involved in this series. And many hours of playtime later, which I did not count, I finally understand what all the fuss is about. Arknights Endfield is technically a sequel or sister game to the original Arknights game.
Is this a lore video, or is this like what the gameplay is about video? Because if this is what the gameplay is about, honestly, I don't need it. Bro, I have played this game probably longer than any one of y'all casuals. Right? Okay, 90% of the casuals. You get what I'm saying? It's lore. It's lore. It's actually lore. Okay,
but gameplay-wise, the games have little to nothing in common. The original Arknights is a tower defense game, visual novel, and factory simulator, while Arknights Endfield is more of an open-world, real-time strategy game that's packed with overworld puzzles, traversal mechanics, exploration-heavy side quests, and a factory simulator. The two games do have a bunch of shared lore, though, and I know that this can be a bit of a red flag since it can suggest that players need to play both games to understand what's going on, but rest assured that Arknights Endfield does tell you everything you need to know, even if you're like me and have never played the previous game. But if you have played the previous game, you're going to recognize a lot of familiar terms, characters, and world building, which is rewarding in its own way, but not necessary. So with that said, I'm going to spend the rest of this video going over my first-time player experience with you, and while I'm mostly going to focus on narrative stuff like dialogue, lore, environmental storytelling, and that kind of thing, I'm also going to go over my first impressions of the gameplay and combat. But don't expect much in the way of combat meta-analysis or gotcha information from me. I'm really more of a story person, and there are tons of other really smart content creators out there who can give their more educated thoughts on all that stuff. I, on the other hand, am going to start things off with a basic overview of the lore and world building that I was able to piece together from all of the information available in the early game. I think this will give you a good idea of how Hypergriff intends on connecting the narratives and world building of both of their games without making it mandatory to play both. Okay, let's begin. Thousands of years ago, a race of spacefaring humans were almost completely annihilated by a mysterious cosmic entity known only as the Observers. The surviving humans fled their original homeworld and settled on the moon of a gas giant named Talos that was miraculously habitable. This moon is Talos 2, a temporary human shelter from the Observers, and also the location where Arknights Endfield takes place. But we'll get to that. Lacking any reasonable means to counter the Observer threat, these ancient humans developed a giant stargate that then took them to their new homeworld of Terra, fully equipped with an auroral barrier which shielded the planet from Observer detection and prevented anyone from entering or leaving the planet's airspace. While on Terra, humanity developed a countermeasure to the Observer's destructive capabilities, Originium, a synthetic crystal capable of preserving information of something even after it's been destroyed. Now, although it appears to be more of a mineral, Originium can grow and spread like a fungus, and due to its high energy density, it became the basis for a whole new kind of technology and even forms of magic called Originium arts. But the use of Originium came with some risks. Once burned for energy, Originium leaves behind a fine particulate, and exposure to it can cause oropathy, a disease that slowly crystallizes the body. It's
Pause. Okay, chat. All these things that she just said, said, it's Arknights Endfield, right? It has nothing to do with original Arknights, right? This is like the backstory of Arknights Endfield. Or is this Arknights? Okay, it's just Endfield. Because I can actually keep up, alright? They went to the moon, right? They had the bad evil, and the cure for the fucking space cancer was like Originium is basically the anti-cancer. And then they use the power of magic to make Originium cure cancer in this game, right? Okay, very, very good, very nice.
Treatable, but it's also terminal and incurable, and once crystallization is complete.
Oh, original was an OG Arknights. Oh, okay.
Complete, the body once again dissolves into that fine particulate dust which can then infect anyone nearby. And if that weren't bad enough, Originium also appears to exacerbate the severity of natural disasters. Terra sounds like so much fun. Now, about 150 years ago, the people of Terra fixed the Stargate leading back to Talos 2 and began the process of recolonization, a process which included inoculating the planet with Originium, because that's what all their technology is powered by. Several noteworthy companies like the UWST, HAS, TGCC, and Endfield Industries began operations on Talos 2, aiming to support the construction of a brand new civilization. Don't worry about those corporate acronyms, you don't need to know what they mean right now.
Oh, don't worry
Mostly
about it.
because we're primarily concerned with Endfield Industries, since the founder of it, the Administrator, is our player character. They not only appear to be connected to the very early race of humans that used to live on Talos 2, but they also have a very deep connection to Originium. During these early days of colonization, Endfield and their corporate partners were able to develop, construct, and launch the one-of-a-kind spaceship, the OMV Dijong, into Talos 2's orbit. This unique spaceship serves as Endfield's HQ and our base of operations in-game. It's also a key part of our Originium-based teleport system and the automated industrial complex system, which we use for construction, crafting, and overworld traversal. But only 5 years into recolonization, the Stargate on Talos 2 was rendered inoperable as mysterious anchors fell from the sky, releasing hordes of monsters called Angeloi all across the planet. This completely severed the connection between Talos 2 and Terra. So now the people of Talos 2 are on their own, and they're working hard towards a brighter future for everyone, which certainly doesn't come easy. Between the Angeloi infestations and the Landbreaker bandit attacks, the Talosians also have to deal with trans-dimensional rifts opening up between reality and the ether side. This point of overlap releases a strange substance called ether, which in turn creates blight somehow. And blight is like a big, massive, melty-looking red goo with a neurotoxic effect on the body. And like I said earlier, not everything is as simple as I've made it out to be, I'm sure, but this is basically where we're at lore-wise at the beginning of the game. Speaking of, the game itself actually begins when the Administrator wakes up from their latest bout of hibernation, which they've been doing on and off for about 150 years, at least. No, I don't really want to talk about the
genuinely, why? Why do gajas always follow this formula where you are like a god and then you lose your memories and then you wake up and everybody knows you as the god, except for yourself. And then you're like, oh wait, I don't remember anything. Like, why though? It's free. It's free. You can redevelop your character. Easier to maneuver the story later. Easier opening. Blank slate. Self-insert. Oh, okay. I guess it's like more. What's that word? What's the word that you like? You feel like it's more immersive, right? Like the player is a literally Endfield, right? You are Endmin. You were literally a fucking god, and you isekai'd from a shitty real life with no job, no studies, no nothing. Everything is going bad for you in the real life, but you isekai'd into this world as someone who lost their memories, and you will save Arknights Endfield. I see, right? Yep.
Actual events of the story so much as how the story is written and presented. Mostly because spoilers, and also because
basically you are Maelle, and you are going to this painted world in this game called Expedition.
Area of the game, Valley 4, has a super simplistic story because the purpose of this area is to introduce you to all of the game's systems and its basic world building, which I've kind of just covered. This portion of the story, although simplistic, feels really long and a bit drawn out, and a lot of that is attributed to the tutorials themselves. Because like story-wise, you're basically waking up on the spaceship only to witness a big anchor fall in Valley 4, which results in a big Angeloi infestation, which causes a ton of destruction that you then have to fix, primarily by beating up monsters and using the AIC factory system to reconnect power lines, repair communications, and construct materials needed to rebuild all of that destruction. So the intro itself is a bit of a slow burn, but the way it's written is very consistent.
Like when we have like Heat MC, Cryo MC, Nature MC, and then you have fucking all these MCs like different. Oh no,
concise, to the point,
dog
and
da, dog
proceeds
da,
at a nice
dog
pace,
da.
in my opinion. This is partly because of
So
the way it's
Endmin
written,
is just
like
gonna be
there's
physical
no
for the rest of the
flouncy monologuing or an overuse of deep philosophical metaphors, but also there's no dead air between the characters' lines. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, a lot of games have those long, awkward pauses between the voiced lines when you let it autoplay. Arknights Endfield does not have those.
Oh, I'm doing
the
not playable.
conversations feel like they're flowing naturally. I feel like that shouldn't surprise or impress me, but it does. I also think it's worth mentioning that the lore and terminology is introduced to the player in a pretty organic way. This is thanks in part to the fact that the Administrator, which is the player character, has amnesia as a side effect of hibernating in their stasis chamber. So the early cast happily explains all of the necessary terminology and lore in simplified terms as they become relevant. So while the game does have a databank full of lore that goes into far more detail than the early story does, you do not need to worry about missing anything important about the story or world building if you just ignore all of that external stuff. And speaking of having good timing, the characters often give exposition or banter while traversing the overworld, which not only feels organic and immersive as a player, but it also means that the timing for the lore and information delivery is really on point. And don't worry, these lines are timed very well, so you won't.
I've heard that the companion quest for Levitating was really, really good. That's why I intentionally didn't finish Levitating's companion quest, so that maybe I can do it on stream with you guys. It was okay, but then again, I have no idea who the fuck is Levitating, so I have like zero Arknights like prerequisite knowledge. But I heard it was really, really
Don't
good.
cut them off prematurely by
I don't know.
zooming
I
toward
don't know
the
anything about
quest marker
Levitating.
or opening your menu, activating a teleport point or puzzle or whatever it is you're doing. In fact, a lot of these interactions seem to be able to pause themselves and then restart once you're done with whatever task you were doing. Not to keep bringing it up, the one thing I will say about the Valley 4 part of the story is that it doesn't have much variation in tension. That is to say, you start the game off with
I
a
hate
mild
this guy,
sense
by
of
the way.
urgency, and the narrative tension for that doesn't really increase.
I fucking hate Albert over here, bro. Oh my god, bro. Why can't it be a Mimi? Why can't it be like a fluffy little rat? Like a rat thing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I mean, it would have been so much better.
decrease till the end of the Valley 4 story. This does make the story feel a bit at first, but a lot of that is due to the amount of tutorials that the game
Chen
has
is
to
great.
walk you through, as
Chen
they
is
add
really,
a
really good.
lot of time
I love
adding
Chen.
to the whole experience.
She's like March
But I think
7th
this
without
is
the
intended
without
design
the
because
silliness.
You can and probably
Okay,
will
actually, a
take
little bit
many
less
breaks
silly.
throughout the Valley 4
More
story to do
serious
some
March 7th.
exploration and side questing to level up, gain materials, and kind of just see what the game has to offer. But once you're through Valley 4 and you start heading to Wuthering City, which is the next area, the narrative tension starts to see a lot more variation and the pacing picks up really nicely. You can really tell the writers were having fun putting this part of the story together. Now, I do have it on good authority that Hypergriff is known for having a bit of a slow burn writing style, so this slow ramp up time is probably the intended experience, like I said.
Oh, by the way, completely unrelated. I'm not sure how much of a lore guy you guys are. I'm not gonna spoil y'all. Because in all stream, right? Even when I do the side quests, I read through them. Alright, that's how you know that MrPokke is not a tourist. At least at the launch of any card game, I always go in with like my all as much as I can, right? There's this one particular side quest. It's about a grandma. Oh, that quest was... If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It was a really, really good... I think like that particular side quest is on like the same level of like whoa, I didn't expect the side quest to be this good. Comparable to there was this quest back in like HSR in Penacony. There was this guy where he nuked like 3 planets. I forgot what was the name of the quest, but he killed 3 planets by himself. He's like Oppenheimer or some shit. So it's like whoa, like a random ass side quest that had like this much development. So what I
So
want to do.
just be patient with the story through Valley 4, take your time,
Is it
explore
Chadwick?
the world,
I can't remember.
play with the
But it
mechanics,
was, like,
and
on
get a
Pentagon.
really good feel for the game's system. The core gameplay loop itself is really fun, and wooing will be an excellent reward for your patience. I mean, the cutscenes alone are worth it. But speaking of exploration, let's talk about it. So Arknights Endfield is not technically an open world game. It's more like an open zone game. You cannot climb everything like a gecko, you cannot glide down from the sky like a bird, and you cannot swim across an endless ocean like a little fish, and you can't go anywhere you want to anytime you want to. New zones and areas to explore are unlocked by completing quests or just talking to people or progressing the story. And sure, this feels like a lot of your freedom is being restricted if you're used to open world games, but in my opinion, this
You're basically a gacha player, just like who you were in real life. When you isekai over here, the moment you touch water, because you never take a shower, tower, you literally just die, bro. So and I want to do
Choice
very
was a
immersive,
good one.
very good.
Because the environment in Arknights Endfield is basically a puzzle you need to solve using only a simple jump button and the factory system. And to me, that makes the overworld way more engaging. But before you ask me, no, the AIC factory system is not optional, not even if you just want to focus on endgame or story.
Yep.
You may not have to go
Yep.
too deep into the system, but you will have to interact with it beyond just blueprints. This isn't a borrow blueprint from somebody then set it and forget it kind of game. But again, in my opinion,
technically, you could. You actually could. Okay, but I would really like. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it in my own review. Like, I'm literally about to do my review after this. Okay, I'm gonna put what's Edion down, do my review. Okay, but like, you could just yoink every single blueprint because the way that AIC is set up in Arknights Endfield is that once you reach the max yield for that region, all the builds will be around the same, which is 18 per minute for bug A and 18 per minute for your hasty batteries. Or sorry, SC batteries. So that will be the end game for every single base. The question is just how those bases look. And it doesn't really matter because you have a lot of freedom to allocate how do you want to distribute this at 18 per minute. So if you do want to just don't care about everything, there will eventually be like a mega based blueprint where you could just like, actually, you know what, fuck it. I will be doing that for my AIC walkthrough live. I'll just show you guys how I built my base. And if you want to, you could literally just copy my base exactly one for one, and you will achieve everything you need to do in Endfield AIC. And you never look at it ever again. You will get the maximum efficiency. Because like, the moment this thing's done, you don't have to worry about it. Like, it will never keep developing. It's more like building a Lego, if anything. Like, the AIC move for this game is like when you're piecing the pieces for the Lego, right? You're building like the house, right? You're building like the roads, right? The trees and all. But eventually, once you finish the house, you finish the set, the Lego set is done. You will never really touch it ever again. Unless they add like an expansion to the region, then you add more things, right? You add a little bit more, you know, then you can customize it a little bit. But like once it's done, it's done. So it could just be copied. But I would not say this is a good thing. Because if at any point of time, if that Lego set has like a missing brick, or like you don't know what went wrong, and you forgot to put like a piece, and you don't know how to fix it, it'll be fucking annoying to try and find out exactly what went wrong. Especially if you have like no idea what's going on. So some base level knowledge is good. But you could technically just yoink everything. So, yeah.
This is a good thing. It's part of what makes this game unique. Unfortunately, though, it does mean that if you do not enjoy the factory at all and you do not want to interact with it at all, this may not be the game for you.
Yep,
but
you
at
are
least
getting
let me explain why I actually like this mandatory factory usage, besides the fact that it's lore accurate in the way that it's Endfield's signature technology that they use to help the people of Telos too. And boy, do I love ludo-narrative harmony and gameplay mechanics. It's like one of my favorite things. As far as overworld traversal goes, the factory system is part of what turns the entire overworld into a puzzle. In Valley 4, many of the overworld puzzles include machines that are either broken or lacking power. And if these machines are out of juice, then you're gonna need to run your own power lines.
I will stand on this till I die, by the way. Probably my top three grievances with Arknights Endfield. Why the fuck can I not run power lines in Wuthering, but I have to run power lines in Valley 4? Like, I just feel like it's such a fucking, like, it is just there to make me suffer. It is literally, the only purpose to me doing this is to make me suffer. It is to make me sit at 80.01 and I fucking cancel it and I have to shift it back all the way again. I just don't see any value in doing this. So, and I want to
main base to the area that's lacking power so you can do stuff like unlock gates, power an elevator, or move a giant crane. Once again, you cannot climb over the wall. You have to open it properly. You are not a lizard. But traversal isn't just limited to puzzles because you can also set up your own fast travel points in a way by constructing zip lines, which is very, very satisfying to do. And the types of machines
they should honestly make this
using
faster.
Will change.
The zip line is pretty good, but I still feel that the zip line is a little bit slow. Like, it could be even faster. Like, if I'm really taking all my time to, like, run around the entire fucking world and I set up relays and set up pylons and set up, like, it could be, like, literally go, like, 2x faster, right? For the amount of time that I have put in. Because, like, the reason why I want to even put zipline in the first place is because, like, mainly is from, like, your TP points to your depots, right? To do your missions, or, like, to your rare materials site. So you can instantly go to rare materials. So, like, if you really take the time to do all that, then it should just be even faster than it is right now. Alright? Like, I'm not here to fucking sing something of Fengjing, bro. Like, I don't care about the scenery. I just want to get there immediately. Because I already saw the Fengjing the first time, right? So there we go.
Based on the region of Talos 2 that you're in. So, while Valley 4 has you running a lot of power lines, Wuling, for example, will have you running water pumps to change the water levels between canals. It is such a satisfying, lore-relevant way to interact with the environment. But the factory system isn't just for traversal, it's also for crafting, and this is where I think Arknights Endfield is quite clever. See, one of the big annoying issues with open world games is collecting materials. They're either too scarce and a pain to collect, or you end up with a glut of items that you can't even do anything with. Endfield makes material collection matter because all of the materials can be used to craft or forge something useful, including your combat equipment.
I'm actually really surprised how fucking useless wood is in this game. Because for most building games, right, wood is like the wood. You're right, you will use wood for everything, bro. Like for like Warcraft 3, is like for a lot of building games, Age of Empire, right, Civilization, it's always wood. But like in this game, wood is like, who? I'm just a little bit surprised. Not only big about it, it's just
all of the gear
it's crazy how useless wood is
not
in this game.
Farmed. That means there's no RNG on it, which is refreshing in its
The
own way.
real
But
wood
it also means that everything you pick up in the overworld matters because it's probably used to make something cool that you can equip that makes you stronger. It's a good incentive structure. The factory system also helps recovery items gain new relevancy as you can equip partner characters with them in case you don't have a healer or a buffer. When the right conditions are met, your partners will just use these items in combat automatically. So you're probably going to find yourself crafting medicine and stuff a lot, especially in the early game. Heck, even outside of combat, all of this stuff is incredibly useful for building new outposts and settlements and things like that. People always need consumables, and your job, running a company, is to make those consumables. So the factory system is very relevant, very important, and I like it quite a lot. But I also quite like the combat, so let's talk about that. Briefly though, because I'm not a meta person. Combat in Endfield is pretty straightforward on the surface. You hold or tap the attack button to perform normal attacks on the nearest or targeted enemy, press the dodge button with good timing to dodge and restore stamina, and then you use your skill or ultimate when needed. But where Endfield's combat gets interesting is when you start exploring team combos. While you technically only control one operator at a time, you can command the other 3 operators or swap between them at basically any time. Non-controlled operators will auto-attack and dodge on their own, but you get to decide who uses a skill or ultimate and when. Using a skill costs one.
I'm gonna say this really okay. I honestly shouldn't even like watch this full thing because at this point it's a review, right? And I have a lot of these points I would say for myself, but like I think the all-field operators are kind of just there, but not really making a big difference if they are there or not there. If you have played this game's combat long enough, especially post level 43, want to do re-0, whatever the crisis is gonna be, right? You don't really swap characters, almost at all. The only time that you will actually change characters is maybe, for example, you want to use Levitate, you're using Ultimate, you want to swap to another guy to do the stagger attack to consume more, or rather recover more skill points, then so. But like almost like 99% of the time, you would just stick to that one character. So adding the ability to swap, or not having the ability to swap characters, doesn't really change anything. At least to me, alright? Because that main DPS will always be that main DPS. Your other 3 units at the back, doing their basic attacks and being alive and dodging, it's kind of cool to look at. But in terms of like actual impact with regards to the combat system in this game, I feel like there's no difference. Like whether or not they exist or don't exist, it wouldn't matter anything. As long as I like just say I press my skill, then they show up on the field and do that skill, fine, that's fair, right? But if they don't appear, it also wouldn't mean anything to me. So that is what I'm cooking, right? What if you want to play? Okay, yeah, like there are situations where you can run double DPS, especially for example like physical, right? Or if you still want to run like your last fight, you can run double DPS. So there are still situations for it, but I would say that majority of like the times you wouldn't really care that much about it. And even for double DPS teams, you are min-maxing what I would say a very small upgrade to your overall damage for introducing this entire system where you can swap characters. You're probably getting like at most around 2 or 3 hits in, alright? If not, maybe like even less than that. And it will change almost nothing. Almost nothing, right? Maybe increase to like around 5%. But they literally made this entire thing to allow you to swap between all these characters. But I just feel like it could have been like introduced with more mechanics to encourage me from swapping. Like right now, the motivation for me to swap is very, very little. And instead, what I care way more about is to manage my base stat chain. Or I want to manage my skill points. I want to manage my combo skills. And the last thing on my mind is to think of swapping. Because it just doesn't change anything, right? So I don't want to do it.
Points that's shared throughout the entire team. You get 3 of them, and they regenerate.
Okay,
over
but that's just
time
me though,
based
right? It's
on
just
certain
my
combat
opinion,
actions
right?
that we don't
Don't
really need to
cancel
get
me.
into
It's just
right
my
now.
opinion.
But because
right?
this resource
Yep.
is shared
I'm not
between
a
the entire
Kurobot.
party,
I don't hate
there's
Arknights
no
Endfield.
real
It's just
skill
my opinion.
cooldown that you gotta worry about. I mean, there is, but like, if you have enough SP, you can basically have the same character use their skill up to 3 times in a row, more or less. This opens up a lot of new strategic possibilities. Ultimates, on the other hand, do not use a shared resource and can only be cast once before you have to build them back up again. Each character also has a unique combo attack with different trigger conditions. Perlica, who you get for free at the start, has her combo attack trigger after the player
credit where credit is due.
a full normal.
They made the shared skill point system a lot better than how Zenless Zone 0 did it with decibels back at the start. To the point where they had to scrap holding. Because like, the good thing about this shared skill point is that there are ways where you can allocate your skill points, and some units give you like additional skill points, a little bit like HSR. A little bit HSR. So it feels less restrictive compared to like Zenless Zone 0 shared decibels, where you were like 99.999% of the time only give your main DPS out of it, never anyone else. Whereas for Arknights Endfield is like you definitely will run situations where like, do you apply your bars first, right? Do you apply your stagger first, right? How do you get this reaction to trigger into your next combo? So that is a pretty good point. That's
normal
pretty good.
attack chain. Other characters can trigger their combo skill in many different other ways, and you can chain these combo attacks together or hold onto them until the timer runs out to maximize your damage. Once you get the hang of this and start factoring in status effects like enemy stagger, lift, electrocution, and so on, you're going to start to realize that the characters have no set rotations and you have to pay attention and play strategically and reactively. It's a ton of fun, especially against more aggressive enemies. Now, obviously, there's a lot more I can say about Arknights Endfield because I've barely scratched the surface, but this is supposed to be my first impressions video and not a full review. However, that will not stop me from also mentioning just how gorgeous this game is.
Oh, this game
I'm not
gorgeous,
usually someone who's like really big on graphics,
This game
but the
legit
characters are
gorgeous.
so expressive. The models are rendered in incredible detail. The environments are
Can accept your
stunning.
praise.
Like,
Yeah, this game legit
small
gorgeous.
spoilers for this area that you gotta go through just before getting to Wuthering, but look at this bamboo maze forest. Look at it! It's beautiful! And the
I'm not sure if y'all know. Do you know why this place is called Wuthering? A little bit did you know. Did you know in Arknights Endfield, the second location called Wuthering, it literally translates into Mist Forest. Yep. And during your exploration in this region, there actually will have times where real mist will occur and everything starts fogging up. So for example, right here. So this was like, I was literally just randomly doing like my own things, and all of a sudden, it just fogged up. Wait, hold up. Yeah, it literally just all of a sudden, everything became like fog. So I just thought that was pretty interesting, right? The environments and the interactions, like the rain, everything, it's quite nice, right? Subscribe for more Arknights Endfield. Alright, there we go.
The water! Please don't get me started on the water. I spent way too long staring at the way rain droplets dynamically fell on the character's clothing and behaved differently depending on the type of material. Like, sir, this is a mobile game! The soundtrack is also immersive and the right mix of sci-fi and unexplored wilderness. And I gotta say, the game's performance was shockingly good. I only encountered a—
Wait, chat. My bad. Scratch that. Wait, is it Wuling or Wuling? Wait, is it Wu or Wu? Is it 武侠小说的武 or is it 雾霾的雾? I mean, they're both called WU. Is there any CM players? Wu or Wu? It's actually Wu. 武侠的武. It is 武侠的武. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, guys. Let me just search Bilibili, bro. Wait, if it's Wuxia or then, bro, that is a huge waste of opportunity. They should have called it Wuling. Because like, it's literally like Mist Forest if they called it that. Oh my god, it is, guys. It's Wuling, bro. Oh, it's Wuling. Okay, yo. It's so scratch that short. Don't make it anymore. Yeah, it's a Martial Forest. Oh my god, why do they call it Martial Forest, bro? Bro, it would have legit made so much more sense if they call it Wuling. My hate canon is like Wuling just sounds and feels a lot better when it literally just starts missing. Okay,
couple of instances of loading
yeah,
lag
it's
in big
Wuling.
cities
Not that
that
link, by the way.
pretty quickly.
It's not that link. It's like the Gaoshan 领地的 thing. It's not
I
yeah.
honestly
It's like a
had
different
the
one.
most lag on the login screen of all places. Everywhere else
Okay,
has
just call
been
it
smooth
Uwu.
like butter.
Uwu
I don't even
Forest.
have that high end of a computer. My only
Uwu
disclaimer
Lake.
on the performance thing is that I didn't get to play it on mobile, so I can't really offer any insight on how it works on there.
Oh,
But
mobile
I do
works
think that's all of my
great.
beginner thoughts worth
Mobile
sharing.
looks
So
great.
I gotta say, I
Exceptional.
am genuinely excited for
Thank you,
Arknights Endfield, and I
Ashikai.
hope this video was able to help you better understand what the game is about and what you can expect. I will
guys.
certainly be back with another
And
video
I'll
sometime
see you
after
guys
launch, so if you are
on the clip
intrigued,
channel.
then stick around for that.
Yeah, it's so
Because
don't
together,
post that
we will
short.
grow
Right, it's
our
a wrong
factories
it's a wrong
like a
here.
grand mycelial network.
Yippee! Yeah. Alright, chat. I'm going in. You have cooled your last cool, my man.